Welcome back. Now, just over 2 weeks ago, on the 20th of January, our next guest marked the one-year anniversary of her daughter's death. Nicole Fox, fondly known as Coco, tragically took her own life after suffering years of online bullying and abuse.
Since Nicole's death, her mum, Jackie Fox, has been campaigning for harassment legislation to be updated to make cyberbullying a crime and to protect victims of online bullying. And Jackie Fox is here now to tell us more about Coco's Law. Thanks for coming in and good morning. And I hope last month was as okay as it can be.
Yeah, it was.
Do you want to I think a lot of our viewers will be familiar with Nicole, but do you want to just tell us a little bit about her?
Before all this happened, Nicole was your ordinary average child. She was, well, she was funny, she was outgoing. We have a mobile home down in Wexford, so we spent all the time in, you know, all the summers and midterms. She loved down there. She had a lot of friends down there. We went crab fishing. She learned how to jump off the pier without her armbands. We was on the beach all the time. She was very, very funny. She was trusting. That was our problem later on. She trusted too many people. She was just she was cheeky, don't get me wrong, like she wasn't like... but no, she was just so loving and outgoing, and she was very, very close to me. We did everything together, everything.
When did things start to change?
When she turned 17, well, when coming up to 18, she was saying, "Oh, I can't wait to go to nightclubs and stuff and all." But when she turned 17, she was able to get into a disco bar. Things start changing then, particularly with two girls. It started off with one of the girls moved to England. Since then, she admitted that they just bullied and picked on Nicole through jealousy, that they were jealous of her because...
Were these supposed to be friends of hers?
They were supposed to be friends of her, yeah.
And what was it they were jealous of? You was just seeing pictures of her. She was beautiful.
Oh, well, they called her every name. She was fat and ugly and all this, but...
Things she patently wasn't.
Yeah, you know, because she was outgoing, when she went out, all she wanted to do was dance. And have fun. That's all she wanted to do. She wasn't a drinker. She never took drugs. She just wanted to have fun and dance. But it started off with the two girls. Nicole was good friends with this boy, and they were only friends. And one of the girls really liked this boy. So the only way she could get closer to this boy was become friends with Nicole. So they weren't really her friends. They just wanted to hang around this boy.
It's quite a typical teenage story until it's not.
Which is, you know, that happens. And when the boy wasn't interested in her, she turned on Nicole. The other girl that was with her, she moved to England, and this girl was kind of on her own, so she had to build up a little army against Nicole. But it wasn't a little army, it was getting bigger and bigger, and there was people that would even come up to Nicole this is the physical abuse, without even knowing Nicole, would just pick on her, attack her. There was there was two girls that, again, were pretending to be her friends, but were friends of the original girl. They threw cigarette butts on her feet. They gave her a 6-inch scar. She was pulled down the stairs by the hair in the nightclub. Nicole had hypermobility syndrome, where her bones would dislocate easily, but she could put them back in easily. She hadn't got enough muscle, you know, to hold them. And these girls knew that, but they would knock her flying into the table, and she'd dislocate her hip, or, you know, they'd be pretending to dance on the dance floor, but they'd give her an elbow in the face and, you know, in the chest, and she'd put her, say, her drink on the table, and they'd just wipe it off the table. If Nicole... She never had a steady boyfriend. She didn't want one. As I said, she just wanted to go out and have fun, but she would... boys would come over and talk to her and stuff, but the main girl and the group of girls that formed then, they didn't like that, the attention she would get, so they'd call the boys over and they'd be whispering in their ear, saying, "Oh, Nicole had this, and stay away from her, she's this and that and that," and just constantly turning away.
In terms of her personality, she's very outgoing and smart and bright and a bit lippy and well able to... But did she have any self-esteem issues, or was it purely and simply the amount, the volume and the frequency of the attacks on her that undermined her self-esteem?
As I said, she was bubbly, but as it went on, in 2015, Nicole took an overdose. She spent 4 days in hospital, and when we came out, she was sent to CAMHS. In CAMHS, they said Nicole was crying. She said she didn't want to be here anymore because of then it was the physical abuse. This was not so much the online abuse. She didn't want to be here, and CAMHS said that you're fine, it's a stage you're going through, you know, everyone goes through it, you'll get over it, you have no mental health issues, you don't need medication, off you go, basically. So, but this kept continuing, and as it continued, she spent more time in her room. She cried every night going to bed. I lay in her bed beside her, we chatted, I tried to lift her spirits up. She was self-harming, which I didn't know at the start. Now, not with her nails. She was grinding into her skin, and then she started on her face, and that's... she said to me a number of times that she didn't want to be here anymore, that she hated the way she was being treated. She said that the only reason why I'm here is because I don't want to leave you heartbroken, Mum.
And Jackie, you would have known. Well, obviously, what happens outside your front door is not something necessarily you can control.
Yeah.
But what happens inside the front door, i.e. what was coming in through social media, etc., you must have known that that's how they were getting to her. Did you not say to her, listen, Nicole, this has got to stop?
Yeah.
You just have to... Did you try to do that? Did you try and take the phone off her, or her laptop, or whatever?
At this stage, she's 18.
Yeah,
okay,
she's an adult,
so she's...
how can you?
Not only that, Mark, she's getting bullied outside in the nightclubs. She's getting picked on the phone, and then to take her phone off, so to isolate her even more than what she... Like, she should have been allowed on her phone. Now, don't get me wrong, she never responded to any of the abuse.
No, but I mean, it's
because these were people she knew, because we've heard today about, you know, children speaking to strangers online, but these were all people she knew, and they just moved the bullying from a physical world to her bedroom by getting her on the phone. And
she wouldn't have seen that they didn't add her into the groups. So one of her friends that she had, she would have been telling her about it. So they didn't even add her into the group, and they were saying things.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about this a little earlier on, that if in trying to protect your child, it would almost appear like you were punishing them by keeping them away from the very thing that is, you know, is their connection to the world.
It's a hard one to do when it's a teenager. Now, they did make up a fake page as well called Saoirse, and they threatened to beat her up so bad that they'd put her on life support machine. We went down to the guards, and because Nicole was 18, she had to make the complaint, but she couldn't go ahead with it because not only
because she was
are they
terrified.
bad, then they would say, oh, you know, getting the guards on you.
And this is relentless. I'm sorry to sort of speed it up a little bit, because I want to get all of this in. But this was going on for how many years?
From when she was 17 till she took her life when she was 21.
And that was last January?
Yeah, on the 20th of January. We found her, myself and my 14-year-old walked in to the hall and found her on the 18th. And I'm so grateful for, this is going to sound weird, but I'm so grateful for the 2 days that we had with her in the hospital, that she just didn't go straight away, that we spent the 2 days in the hospital with her before she...
Well, it would be almost... It's impossible to imagine how anybody subjected to that kind of relentless pressure, physical and psychological, that it's amazing that she actually lasted that long.
She didn't want to be here. She when she took the overdose, it's so hard to get her back. She hung on for that long for me.
For you.
She said it to me. She said that she wanted to hang herself, but she was afraid that it would go wrong and she'd end up with brain damage. Well, that's what she did in the end.
Okay. Well, look, let's not talk about that anymore, because I don't want to put you through all of that again. Now, in a lot of cases, families could break and buckle as a result of that. You decided You weren't going to do that. You were going to make sure that whatever happened to your child wasn't going to happen to somebody else's. And you went on a campaign. And it's been the progress you have made between the 20th of January last year and the 20th of January this year is quite incredible, because Coco's Law is in the Dáil. It's going through the Oireachtas. What will that do?
It depends on the age group, because the law is not, it's past its second stage now.
It's called, actually, just to let people know, this, because people, all of us as parents in the future will benefit from this, the Harassment, Harmful Communications and Related Offences Bill 2017.
OK, but that's not fully made up yet. It's also called Coco's Law, the harassment thing.
So they will be naming it after Coco. Because you were surprised that there was absolutely no laws, there was no crime in telling somebody to kill themselves.
No, when the guards came, when Nicole had passed away, the guards came back to me and they said it's not an offence to say whatever you want, to annihilate anyone online. There is no law there. There's an act in 1997 where you weren't allowed to text someone or send a message on a phone, but Facebook wasn't out by then. That didn't come out till 2004, so there was no law for Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram,
and Coco's Law will change that?
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? If you had written those things in any other medium, if you wrote it in a letter, if you put it on a poster, if you printed it in a newspaper, you could be sued from here to hell and back again. Even though it was in print digitally, it's still not a crime.
No,
and
not
nothing
a
could
crime.
be done.
Not online, because
well, listen,
it was outdated.
Again, because of time, we're up against it here. It is, what you've done is absolutely remarkable, and every parent and child in the country will be protected as a result of it. So God bless you for that. More immediately, you got AIR on board, and as of today, all phones sold by them, new mobile phones, will include a leaflet as to the dangers of cyberbullying.
Yeah, it's a 4-page leaflet. Also, I'd like to just get in, Coco is in there as well, her name, so that's another, she'll live on. I'm trying to get her to live on, like, with her name. Yeah, her name's going to be in that as well, but they're going to put it in every single phone that they sell. They're putting in a leaflet. The front of it, it's Stop Cyberbullying with a big stamp out sign. On the second page, it's advice for kids on you know, how to handle the phone, and the other page is for parents of...
And I'd imagine the other biggies like Three and Vodafone will probably follow suit.
That's the plan, yeah.
And Carphone Warehouse as well, if you're watching this morning, by the way.
It's quite incredible, because when you do hear the
one starts off, I think it will.
When you hear the research, a lot of parents aren't. You were talking to Coco, but a lot of parents aren't talking to their kids. So these leaflets will, you know.
OK, and I know you want to pay a special tribute to the Labour Party and Brendan Holan, because they've been a huge support to you in this.
It was hard getting in the right direction. You know, starting off, nobody was listening, but Owen O'Brien, fantastic, and he put me onto Brendan Holan. I met up with him a couple of times, and he's just been fantastic, and he's the one that said no problem with calling the Coco's Law. He wants it called Coco's Law.
Well, you've been fantastic, and you've been fantastic at a time when really what you should be doing is taking care of yourself, and the idea that you would turn her legacy into something that all of us will benefit from, and that our children will be protected as a result of, is a testament to you, the kind of woman you are, and your family.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'd try to be strong on the interviews to try and get to it, but I'm not strong. I fall apart every night.
Well, listen, thank you.
Thank you.
Now.